Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of the Men's Lounge. We are here today being the second Monday in November. Are you aware that November is actually the men's month? Well, it's interesting, but so another thing you would know is that it is the men's month, but more women are born in November than men. Yes, it's my personal research. You can go and trace it. You know what I'm talking about. Well, again, let me just say good evening and welcome to this episode of the Men's Lounge. Feel free to join us on all our social media platforms at ETV Ghana on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can get us there. Join us, send in your comments. Today we'll be discussing something very, very interesting, but I'll go on a break. Before I go on that break, this evening I'm aware there's some movie, that you don't even need to buy tickets for, but it's a movie that everybody's interested in watching, and it's the producer is Anas Arimia or Anas. I'd like to see the details of it, but it's interesting how the movie hadn't been shown, but there seem to have been some effects of the movie already even from afternoon. Well, Ghana we day. Things are not too good, but what can we do? We just have to pray and be thankful to God once we have life. You wake up in the morning and you are breathing, you just have to be thankful and then you move on. Guys, let's go for our first break. When we are back, I'll tell you what we'll be discussing today, and I'll introduce the two people I'll be having the discussions with. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back if you are just joining us. We just got into the lounge, and I did mention that it's been... Okay, let me not go back to it. So yes, we'll be discussing an issue that has to do with masculinity. And of course, when you hear the word masculine, obviously you know we are talking about men. I did mention also already that November is the month of men. And let me just say this. On the 19th of November happens to be the Men's Day. And the theme for this year is celebrating mateship. Hashtag make time for mates. I have two gentlemen here. When I introduce them, I'll ask them what this Men's Day really mean to them. You hardly hear. If it was a Women's Day or something, I'm sure the whole world will be in pink and white and all colors of it. But it's Men's Day and everybody almost... Anyway, the fact is that, yes, it is Men's Day, but even more women are born in November than men. And so we can understand why, even though it's Men's Day, there isn't much being said. So today we are discussing masculinity, and we're particularly looking at, are the men becoming less masculine? Are you and are we the men becoming less masculine? And with me to do this discussion today, I have Michael Ohini Efa, co-founder, Leader Freak International, here with me. Michael Akwaba.
Yeah.
And it's not only Michael. You know, Michael is a familiar face to us. There's another person. He happens to be Michael's very good friend and my friend as well. And he happens to be Amos Kevin Annan. He's a convener mobilizing males initiatives. Now, you know the word, the name, sometimes is it Kelvin or Kevin? I'll be asking him what the difference is since he bears that name. Amos, Akwaba.
Major, so.
Michael is too fast, so you give it a booster from here.
All right,
that's it. Kelvin, Kevin. What's the difference?
Kevin.
What's the difference?
One has an L, the other doesn't have.
No. And just a meaning be.
Well, almost a Barquia American, Barquia British, whatever that is.
Anyway,
let me get the L Kevin.
All right, I'm glad you have joined us today. How was the weekend for you guys?
Well,
Nancy, weekend you to me rest you.
Yeah.
Kata we ni better now Monday naba.
I spent my weekend in Sogakope.
Oh, Sogakope. You must have rested. That area is calm and less busy and.
Well, I was at a retreat.
A retreat
with couples.
Okay. It was fun.
Oh yes, definitely. I was there with my wife, and we're facilitating sessions for couples.
Interesting. Michael,
Yeah.
weekend, was it taken by the family?
Mine was spent working.
So you cheated?
But then I had some time to rest a bit.
No, you cheated the family. You didn't have time for them.
The family now is busier than me.
Oh, they are. Anyway, so it's good to see you guys. Today we are discussing something very peculiar to men, masculinity, being that November is the month of men. And I already mentioned that, look, even though anything that has to do with celebrating men, it's almost taken away from us. Even the month that we claim that is our month, there's more women born in that month than men. Month of men, masculinity. The question I'm putting across today is that, are we the men becoming less masculine? That's what that's what we seek to address today. But when we say masculinity, what does it mean and what's wrong with masculinity in today's culture? Let me start with you, Michael.
Okay, so the traditional understanding of masculinity is everything that's got to do with manliness. What defines and makes a man.
A man.
And it's a social construct, meaning we have agreed and basically created a mold that if you are a man, you must display this character or characteristics. And when you do that, then you are being masculine. So a man must show strength, a man must show courage, a man must show leadership, a man must take charge. And so when you do these things, then you are fitting into the mold of masculinity. So even if you are a lady and you tend to do certain things, people say, oh, stop being too masculine. Because there's a social construct, there's a certain mold that if you are a man, you must necessarily display these qualities or traits. So that's masculinity. But then there are, maybe emos will come in, but there are different variants or versions or types of masculinity. And as we go along, we may want to look at that.
Hey, boss.
Yes, boss.
Michael has spoken.
Well, I associate with all that Mickey has said. The other thing is also to do with dominance.
Okay.
Dominance, the ability to dominate and have ownership of things. And then also not showing emotions. That's where you get this stoicism. You have to be so
it is only by the look. What's any outcome? Now how you are saying it.
Exactly.
Now the boaji.
Exactly. So
About to you know, those kinds of things. So that whole mindset is what actually people use in describing masculinity.
that's right.
And show no weakness, show no vulnerability, have no sense of fear, shed no tears.
Yeah.
But you see, in today's culture, I mean, gone are the days 20, 30, 40 years back when these proverbs were not just proverbs, but it seemed to be ensued. It seemed to be that our fathers make sure that this is who we become. But in today's culture, there seems to be something different. Is there anything wrong?
Oh, there's nothing wrong except when it is taken to a place where you lose your sense of humanity. Because the thing with a human being is that you're a bundle of strength and weaknesses. So here you are, you've been made to mute or silence your weaknesses. Because your weaknesses make you appreciate other people's input into your life. And you embrace them because where you are weak, they may be strong. And where you are strong, they may be weak. So you co-depend on each other in a more positive way. And that's how society is built. But where it is that you don't have any weakness whatsoever, then why a tin?
Is it that you don't have or you don't show it?
Well, that is the impression you portray. It's the picture you create that you're going to be defined with. So if you create, I remember I took a course somewhere. There was this guy, a Welsh guy. He comes with a Welsh-Irish blend. And then he comes to the class, and those days, computers, mainframe, computers. So now he comes to the class. He had those old projector. They had a film.
Oh, all right.
Hey, I can handle it. I can handle it. I mean, just oh, you have men who have that. I can handle it. I'm in charge. The grip. Oh, sookrade no. Enti on to me ensre moa. Ozo hia moa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oko hospital or the no one no akoshe hospital no akwa bad.
Can I say quiet, Baba?
I better odi.
It's so I mean with this in mind, most men have that tendency of wanting to be seen as, that masculine, right? So what is influencing men to conform to these models of masculinity? And then, what?
It's because society itself is changing. We've undergone tremendous changes over the last 100 years or so. Look at the cars we drive. The car my grandfather drove is not the car I'm driving today. And so society has evolved, has changed. Technology has aided that change. If you look at everything, look at television. When I was growing up in Kotobabi down, the whole quarters, there was only one color TV. And all of us will have to go and hide to be able to watch this color TV because we didn't like our parents' black and white TV. Today, look at TV. And so everything has evolved. And with it has also evolved what we define as masculine or man. So it is not that men are becoming less masculine. It is that the wider society is changing, and with it is changing all the roles. So if you look at the role of women, it has changed considerably. From 80 years back, what a typical woman used to do, to today what women are doing. So, you see, there are three people involved in every home: the man, the children, and the woman. Everybody has changed. And so the man cannot remain the same and stick to, as Amos said, this, I have to be this, I have to, because everybody around you has changed. Everything around you has changed. Like Amos was giving the example of a mainframe computer. Today, my phone has more computer than that mainframe computer.
That thing was even too slow.
Exactly. Look at even the broadcasting industry. Look at what you do.
The gadgets, even the gadgets
exactly.
that we use now.
So, same position. Somebody who used to host a TV show 20 years ago, you are doing this show completely different from her. So it's the same position, but the social construct around it has changed. And it's the same thing men are going through.
I see.
What is around us has changed, and with it, what we need to do to stay relevant. But the tragedy is that a lot of men refuse to see these changes and are still sticking to that tradition. That one is called toxic masculinity in the books.
Toxic masculinity.
Yes, that thing about Bema Su, that thing about Obatu Obema, the Bema them, that thing about I don't have to show my emotions, I don't have to do this. I mean, wow, are you the one to tell me what to do? That's toxic masculinity. That is, it's like using an iPhone 6 charger to charge an iPhone 13. Because the two technologies are not compatible. I mean, the woman that you say you are the lord of or the head of, the children that you say that I brought you into the world, they have changed. So you cannot stay the same. So that is what is happening to men. And unfortunately, a lot of men are not observing, are not analyzing, and are not changing to reflect the changing social dynamics that we are seeing around us. And that is what is creating a lot of conflict in our workplaces, in our homes, and then in relationships.
But Michael, before I come to Amos, why are a lot of men not seeing this? Why are we not realizing it? Is it the ego issue, or what is it? Why?
Yeah, it's because that's how we've been. Change is very difficult. So, we are living the way we saw our fathers live. We are living the way we saw our grandfathers live. And that's it. And so we are refusing to see that things have changed. And also what I have observed in my work is that a lot of men shuttle between two realms. So when it suits them, they run to the Bible. Hey, the Bible says you must submit.
The Bible says you must submit.
When it doesn't suit them, they say traditionally. So it's not like we are not seeing. We see, but we are using religion and tradition to mask up what we need to face up and do. And that's why Amos talking about taking the mask off.
I see that in his t-shirt. I'm going to ask him about that too. But when he spoke, he made mention of all these things being like some societal norms that have put us or tried to put us under a certain kind of umbrella. Would we say that these norms, to some extent, have been harmful?
Well,
or are there some that have been harmful to us?
well, some have been harmful to the man. So, for instance, I encountered someone who said that, "Me mami wuye mensu," and he's saying that to show that he's a strong guy. So, if you're a man and you shed tears, show weakness, show vulnerability, then you are not a man. What has happened to you? Your emotions have been damaged. So you see a lot of men, they are afraid of showing emotions.
Afraid of
Yes.
showing emotions?
Yes. If they're going to show emotions at all, it is anger, frustration. The other ones, no. Sorrow, shedding tears.
Being
Or is it that
vulnerable.
we feel that one makes us women or what? Or makes us feel like women?
Because when you are shedding tears, they say, "Hey, we are bad."
Yeah.
If you have concerns and you have to express your views, they say, "Hey, na bema na okasa bebre say. Bema na wo how bebre say no."
Yeah.
So we are bema there. Ade na say eduro nyonyo no bema na enom. Nti de e de na de mama. So these things are adversely impacting us. And sometimes it's also out of our own enjoyment of our comfort zone. This is what you're familiar with. You're enjoying it. It comes with so much pleasure. The protocols, the prestige. Just added there, fine. Oba is a bemani, Into also be onisika also no akofa paper. Yeso no offer paper no afford no bonata so. Oya say ja dey when na ball. Make a koto dey down. Because bema dey as a bibi boata so. Akwa bi o say na that for say bema dey so onum bon kakra. So adwen no. Internet dey bema dey otra ho say dey go to amu a ehihim egu body ane uhihim. These things have actually stolen their way into our belief systems. Some of them are actually myths, which we have not interrogated. We have just taken them hook, line, sinker.
Yeah.
And there's a need for us to do a sober reflection and see which of the things, like Mickey said, within the traditional breadwinner, hunter masculinity are inimical to our own health and to the health of the people around us and the environment we create. Because if we don't do that, we will not be able to live like Koda has proposed. Things are not the same anymore. Because the women today are different. The children are different. So why would you want to stay the same? The sad thing is you enjoy the pleasures of the change. Technology, this, vehicles, that. One man said to the son, "Wo, we tell you, Akola, and you do go school anapa, near Sabefa. Me, AD11, menanisi for, and Papa grab I say me. After the boy looked at the dad and said, "Not that, I said Jesus not trying from Ponko so. What's that playing one? I'll call you, kid, I'll call you. That's also go fine. So yes, I know. You can't say this to your dad. Okay, why you be? But today's child will talk. It doesn't show disrespect. They're just trying to show that they also have a converse thinking. They all cannot. Easy.
And then now, let me add on quickly to what Timo said. You see, every age defines the social norms that governs the age.
Okay.
And so, for example, when we say culture, you know, and Dr. Otabo has said is that my grandmother's culture is not my culture because we define culture as a way of life. So my grandmother's way of life is not my way of life. But in Africa, we tend to misinterpret that and say culture is how my great-grandfather lived, and that's my culture. But that's not your culture. So you see, we've gone through several ages: the industrial age, the agriculture age, the technology age. Now, each age defines how we constructed our norms. And so we are in the iPad age. We cannot fall back on the
Agriculture
industrial
age.
age norm
Okay.
to govern us. And that is what may lead certain commentators to say that masculinity is what we are losing our masculinity. We are not. We are changing to reflect the age in which we are living.
Especially in a positive way.
That's right.
In a positive way.
Yeah.
So, being that, again, these things, should I say, men are to some extent stereotyped, okay? And so, with that in mind, how do we then encourage ourselves as men to be our true selves? How should we do it? For example, I know that I didn't baby I do there. The only way is to cry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
To feel okay.
Yeah.
How do we strike that balance?
we
and encourage
once
ourselves?
had a meeting and we had John Boache, who writes in the Mirror, in the relationship column. And John Boache has been married for over 40 years, and he says to the people in the meeting, "Share, me yiri ya madina me ya misun, me denso amisri." And this is a matured man. When he said it, a lot of the guys in the meeting were like, "Wow, can you know when to laugh and when to shed tears?" I dare say there are a lot of men, things hurt, but they don't show they are hurting because they are afraid that if they show they are hurting, they will say you are not a man.
That's right.
If you are in that state, it means that where you are is not a good place.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Now, if you don't have money, can you admit I don't have cash on me? When your child comes and says, "Daddy, I want this toy, that. Can you sit with the child and explain to them, at this material moment, Daddy doesn't have sufficient cash to buy this? Or you say, "Oh, kweko ude tobo ochira mi to amao." When you know ochira won't to me to. So what do you do? Quickly walk sika or baby. Sika nya odia, aban sika, anaso obi fufuro sika. Now they are called top to save your face. If you are like that, you are damaging yourself.
It's called,
many.
It's called outside gentility.
Gentility house cry.
You cry at home and then out there
Yes,
you look
outside,
gentle.
you look
You see?
good. So you go around borrowing from your friend just because you must buy certain things that you can't afford.
You can't afford.
Because you must fit into the mold
Mold.
that society has constructed for us.
So we cannot entirely rubbish societal norms and values, but we need to look at them again. If you're going to subscribe to them, be sure you are not subscribing to something that will not make you live a very regular, everyday life without stress.
Michael,
Yeah.
how do we encourage ourselves to just, should I say, keep our heads afloat? Get out of this. How do we?
It's a very important question. I think one, men need to pause and reflect. We need to stop the giddy-giddy. From time to time, we need to pause and reflect. And use that period of reflection to re-strategize as to what we are going to do next and how we are going to come out as better men who will lead. Number two, we must not be afraid to face our own vulnerability. We are not,
just admit that we are vulnerable.
Yes, we are. We are made of water and blood. We are human beings. We are not made of steel. So at certain point, like Amos said, if you are feeling like you must cry, you cry. If you are broke, let people know. Let the family know. If you are in a bad place, tell people, "Can you give me a few moments to compose myself?"
Yeah.
So we must not be afraid of our vulnerability. It is in showing that we show we are actually strong people. Because we are not computers. Even computers at a certain point break down.
You need to reset
Yes,
them.
exactly. You need to shut down and do maintenance.
Yeah.
So why are we human beings made up of blood and water afraid to show that at certain times we need maintenance? So that's the first. And then we must also be able to extend the boundaries a little bit based on the exigencies of the time.
Okay.
This chinchine mode that we have put ourselves in, back in the day, women were not supposed to work. Today, your wife
Even earns more than
is
you.
a branch manager of a bank, and you are still expecting her to be at home at 9 p.m. and cook fresh food for you. Oh, brother, adding.
Slavery.
So we must not be afraid, to extend the boundaries a little bit. If
Yeah.
your wife is a branch manager, comes home at 9 p.m., you come home at 6 p.m., and you have to cook rice so that some men won't do it. Just to cook rice. And not that they are going to cook it on
Rice cooker.
rice cooker. They won't do it because we have, this stereotypical image of a man. He's there watching sports on ETV, waiting for the woman to come at 9 p.m.
Meanwhile, they'll eat some too.
On no kind of
Anyway.
because he doesn't want the friends to see that he's the one who cooks at home. He doesn't want people to say that, hey, me na me ebe, ade me na me wa na so now. The woman is any more than you, brother.
You better accept it then.
Exactly. So we need to face our vulnerability. We need to show that, look, every woman will respect you if at certain point in time you can just come clean. You can just say that, darling, you know what? And shame
And Koye.
can you please take care of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the next 3 months? And while the woman is doing that, if you have to wake up and wash the car, do it. If you are the one who has to wake up and do the laundry, do it. Because that is when you can also get your peace. Because a lot of men are suffering in silence because of this thing we have put upon ourselves. You are not happy, your soul is not happy, and yet you say, I am a man. Where is your manliness?
Gentle outside.
No, I once heard this statement. When change comes and you don't acknowledge that change has come, change will change you and you'll be changing crying.
I like
When change comes.
And you do not acknowledge that change has come, change will change you and you'll be changing crying.
Well, change will change you
And you'll be changing crying. A lot of men are in that state. Now, you are not changing voluntarily. It is involuntary change.
That is changing.
And you don't even have a choice.
That is the challenge. And when you change BBA, oh, now who Tum says here, oh, I'm not the Alpha and Omega. I'm not the know-it-all. And yet we are going to build this family together. When you do that, the change is obvious.
Yeah.
It is noticed. The collaboration, cooperation to work together with your lover and your children is beautiful. There's no insecurity.
Yeah.
But here you are. And won't tear po.
Yeah.
But you have to man up.
Sorry, sorry.
You see, and that's dangerous.
Killing.
Oh, remember me break. Koye health screening. Any one your time. Uncle, but Oba, oti, when you put you hospital. Bema, or by the time of because of hospital, no, no baby I didn't do no, I crisis. So these are things that we need to start inculcating, especially in the young boys. As for the older men, we have to mend them kakran. But building the boys is better option and less expensive than mending broken men.
Well, it's less expensive to mend. I mean, to shape,
to build the boys
than
to mend
the broken men. Well, apparently, masculinity is not like it's becoming less. It's rather the fact that we need to change, relative to the time that we find ourselves in. We'll go on this break. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly with more. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are still here in the lounge discussing masculinity, obviously something that relates more to men, and we are asking whether men are becoming less masculine. With what we have said so far, it doesn't look like men are becoming less masculine, except that society has changed over the years, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years down the line. A lot of things have changed, and so the question is, should we not also begin to change towards fitting that line, or do we still want to live in the days of Kinta Kinte and the others that I'm still here with my brother Amos and my brother Michael, and we are doing justice. So guys, we are back. So let's just start from this point. Yes, we've seen what's the stereotyping that obviously gets men to think in a certain direction, right? So my question now is, what are the biggest challenges men face today? What are the biggest challenges that men face today?
I think the challenge is we can break it down into both external and internal. The external environment within which men are leading has changed, and with it, a lot of men don't understand that, and therefore it is affecting how they are leading and their ability to lead. Today, job losses, global measures and acquisitions, and I mean the constant technological change. It's very difficult to be abreast with all the rapid changes going on, and it's affecting a man's ability to be the provider for his family. I mean, the latest talk now, Elon Musk bought Twitter, and people are just being fired with via email, not even the courtesy of a meeting. And this is what is happening. I mean, 3 years ago, we went through our own banking sector cleanup. Over 20,000 people were sent home. So that is a big challenge facing men. Technology is changing jobs. So you used to be a driver, today they are autonomous cars. Your job is written off.
Yeah.
So that's a big, and it attacks the very essence of manhood, which is the provider of our families. So that external environment has changed, and we need to be able to either upskill or retrain men to be able to fit into a very fast changing technological world. Then socially, the social construct is also changing, like we were discussing earlier. So what it means to be a wife is changing, what it means to be a child is changing, how we are relating is changing. Today, I mean, gated communities, more expensive cars, more expensive phones, so everything around us is changing at the speed of light, and sometimes it's really difficult as a man to be able to keep abreast of all these changes. Even at workplaces, the social pressures that we go through, people are changing cars, and you are wondering, hey, what happened? What happened? So there's enormous pressure on men. There's pressure on us to do the wrong thing. If you are in a workplace,
there's pressure on us to do the wrong thing.
Yes, yeah, Friday the boys are going out, and you say, no, I'm going to my wife.
Exactly.
Exactly. So there's enormous pressure on men to do wrong. If all your colleagues are doing some other stuff, that I would not want to glorify on this hallowed show. There's pressure on you to also follow suit. People are doing these things, and they will tell you, oh, the new recruits. That's pressure. That's a challenge. And how are men going to be able to stay sane within such an environment? I'll leave Amos to do the rest.
Amos.
Well, I think
He's the
one
more
of the
intelligent of the two of us.
Oh yeah.
Amos, the challenges
Letitia is watching. She knows that this guy is shark.
Oh, I know Michael. I won't say much, but I know him.
Okay. Me that's so we do me dance here.
Me or dance in this street. I am
Well,
a witness.
you see,
This is propaganda.
a lot of men have tied their identity with their ability to provide. Now, where you are no longer able to provide, you
So what
lose
I
your
do?
identity.
Good.
So you're not a man anymore then.
Exactly. Instead of defining yourself by your purpose, not by the provision. So we need to look at that. What defines you as a man?
So what defines you as a man?
It is the purpose for which you live for, not necessarily the provision you give.
Okay.
Some define themselves by their pay pocket. And if you do that, when you lose your pay pocket, you're finished. Your capacity to even stand in front of a woman is compromised. It's gone. This is where some men, when their wives are earning more, they become insecure. Because, hey, now na unye's catching me, and says, oh, banya's catching Bema. Or ban a driver car, until you take car to my, hey, now Bema, may Bema me take car to no bar. So, you see, when you have those kinds of things, you are defined by items. You are in big trouble. And a lot of men need to look at that. I sat in taxi to campus. A young girl comes and says, but you have a car. Why are you sitting in taxi? You see, pressure, expectations of people. It is something men need to really watch.
Yeah.
All my buddies are doing A. Now look at the rate at which people want to be billionaires and millionaires.
Yeah.
By 40, I want to have this, that. Meanwhile, you know that your income
It's nowhere.
is
Nowhere near
nowhere.
that. Yeah.
So what do? Bypasses,
Fast money.
sidestepping, underground. You know, you do all sorts of things. And you show yourself strong. There was a story of a guy, a lawyer, who actually set his car ablaze on the motorway. Why? Went to fake insurance.
Oh. Oh.
I knew him. He was my senior in school. What? You see, because the pressure on you,
Yeah.
and sometimes we also bite more than we can chew. Too many men have taken so much upon themselves. When I was in Koforidua, there used to be a mentally deranged guy in Koforidua. Every ring he found, he put it on his arm. So from his finger all the way to the shoulder, he had rings. And Koforidua people called him Kuntai, because when he's walking, it's like this. His hands can't drop. Too many men have become Kuntai.
Yeah.
What chichira swa, what bosso, and they just say me a bema.
You'll be asking at this wow.
And you've been at this one. Walk off at this one. As I say, ukum how. And you won't just say, yeah, boy, so. Yeah, boy, so ye.
But Amos, in that case, would you say modern society is failing men?
Oh, modern society, there's not the oho. And I also oho. So, my own choir. The modern society may fail you. Pressure, pressure is everywhere.
Yeah.
Only a brand here, worry pressure, baby. Worry pressure, baby. Only I want so a pressure, baby. You know, that's what pressure is part of. As a penny,
Exactly.
that's it. When to an amount so.
Yes, it may.
When to an amount, what so to add yes. So there need to be all these things. Oh, forgive is my alarm. You know, then there need to be the situation where we are able as
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
Oh, what can this be? Me alarm.
Well, I mean, I'll take this opportunity to go on our very last break. I'm sure when we are back, the phone lines will also be open. So please stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, we are still in the studio discussing masculinity, obviously, amongst men, and asking whether men are becoming less masculine. The past 40 minutes has proven that we are not becoming less masculine. Rather, we need to begin to adapt to the changes that obviously is happening around us. I'm still here with Michael and Amos. Guys, we are back. Amos.
Yes, boss.
You know, when we started, I told you I've seen something on your. Please hold the T-shirt. I want to see what is written there. What is this about? Take off your mask.
Take off your mask is.
What is the mask?
It's our commemoration of the International Men's Day,
Oh, okay.
and to let men know that vulnerability is a virtue. It's not a vice.
There's no advice.
Take off the mask. What mask are you wearing? We're wearing different kinds of masks. Psychologically, emotionally, physically, health-wise, all those things. We need to take them off and be able to connect with other men who hold us accountable and also be responsible to us. Don't be afraid to have friends who speak into your life, friends who straighten you up. It's the most painful thing, but women have it in abundance. Men, why are we afraid? We socialize around activities, football, politics, the girls, booze, food. What about looking into each other's lives? So we are gathering men on the 19th of November at ATTC, the Dome, and from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. we are going to have serious conversations. Dr. Joyce I will be there to speak. Professor Stephen Adair will be there to speak. Michael is speaking to us on how to mentor the boys. We can't leave the boys behind.
Yeah.
And in this meeting, we're asking fathers, come with your sons. Mothers are also welcome to come with their sons. Sisters, come with your brothers. Ladies, come with your guys. And wives, come with your husbands. And here, so that you can support them. And then we'll do a fatherhood pledge, where we believe that fathers will have to pledge to be faithful to their children and to their homes. and then you sign the certificate, go and frame it and keep it at home so that your children and your spouses can keep you accountable. And it's a free event. If you want to be part, 0266 803285. Just send a WhatsApp. I'll send you the link. You register. First 150 people are getting free T-shirt.
I shall be there.
Look forward to seeing you.
Well, of course, on Men's Lounge, I've been telling you the past weeks that we've got something beautiful from Yumvita. Yumvita comes from the Promacedo group, and they have something beautiful for us. So, Amos and Michael, I have these two nice things for you. It's full of lots of goodies for the kids at home. Wow. What you don't know is that I have trackers in them. Just make sure they get to Madame safely. Because when the moment they touch it, I will know they've received it.
Well, there's evidence.
Evidence, they are watching.
All right. Unfortunately, time won't allow me to do more, but let me just take 30 seconds and then 30 seconds to wrap up from you.
If you are here, you are a brother, you are a husband listening, watching us, I want you to know that the traditional notion or definition of masculinity has changed. And what that means, you must also change. Today, what society needs is a man who is not afraid to be vulnerable, who is not afraid to lead from the back, who is not afraid of servant leadership. Listen to the people at home. Be vulnerable if you have to, and lead with empathy. Lead from the heart. The heart is the oldest organ in the human being. Let's learn to do that and stop the plenty wandering around.
It was.
Well, what I will say is this, that, dear brothers, as a man, you must learn to be a lion. What do lions do? They face the danger, the risk, the threat. Go out and face the threat. But you must also be a lamb who shows compassion, care, love, empathy to your household. If you bring your lion tendency to the house, you damage your home. That is for the outside, the threat which is coming, imminent. But in the home, it is your compassionate care that your family wants to see. If we miss this, we are doomed.
Thank you very much, Amos. Thank you very much, Michael. And thank you the most for staying with us this evening to listen to all the good things we have for you. We'll be back next week with something equally interesting and important. Until then, please stay safe, take good care of yourselves. It's Monday. There's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's no giving up, you know. You still have a lot of days to make do what you have not done yet. And so we'll see you next week. Keep the fire burning and please stay well.